Coming up on Mountain News this morning, officials are looking for suspects in an eastern Kentucky drive-by shooting. And abortion advocates in Kentucky are still looking for change more than 2 years after the Dobbs decision.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 6:30 on Tuesday, June 25th. Now let's go on ahead and check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
You know, that looks like the big smile of a Tennessee volunteer there, Miss Calfee. In the meantime, a little fog and haze has been developing as we've looked down below from our camera on our tower outside our building here at WYMT. And visibility-wise, back into the Cumberland Valley, things drop. Not as bad as we've had seen in recent mornings, but nonetheless, visibility 4 to 6 miles, so a little extra time. No matter where your destination takes you this morning, mid and upper 50s into the lower 60s, 63, a very popular temperature here across eastern Kentucky from Ashland down into Wise into Virginia. All right, a scattering of some clouds this morning. There's more clouds as you cross the Ohio and get up toward the southern Great Lakes. We're tracking a thunderstorm complex that will make its way into eastern and southern Kentucky later tonight. More about that in a moment. But nonetheless, today, a lot of sunshine, increasingly humid. Enjoy this pleasant feel this morning, a high near 90. More about that complex and a look ahead into tomorrow with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Olivia?
Tim, thank you. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help to find the person or people responsible for a drive-by shooting in West Van Leer. Officials say a car drove by the Kobe Drive area Sunday night and someone shot a rifle into a home, injuring one person with several more in harm's way. The sheriff says the only information available is that the car is believed to be a blue 4-door coupe, which left the area and traveled into West Van Leer.
One in the vicinity of this incident that does have any kind of exterior cameras that would let us know that information and share that information with us, it would be much appreciated.
The sheriff says the situation could have been worse, but he wants to find the person responsible to make sure nothing else happens in the community. One man is dead after what deputies call a domestic dispute in Laurel County. 37-year-old Caney Hiram Hoskins was found dead with a single stab wound to the chest. The incident occurred last Friday at a house on Gell Avenue, about a mile and a half west of London. Detectives reported the incident started after Hoskins reportedly assaulted his stepson's mother, which led to a physical altercation between Hoskins and the stepson.
Well, we'll have to wait till all of our evidence comes back in from the crime lab until the case is actually completed. And once that completion takes place, then we'll make a presentation. Generally, the grand jury meets once a month in Laurel County, and I doubt if it'll be the next term of the grand jury, but it will be in the foreseeable future.
No charges have been filed. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office will present the case to the Laurel County grand jury. An Ohio man is dead after a suspected drowning in Lake Cumberland. 72-year-old Daryl Kirby from Liberty Township, Ohio. Kirby was in an area some call Party Cove on the South Fork section of Lake Cumberland. Officials say Kirby either fell or jumped into the lake and did not resurface. One man who has been coming to the lake for 30 years says he has had a lot of fun there, but he says he has also heard of many tragedies as well.
What I was told, he'd climbed up on the back of the boat and he reached back over to get something out of the water, a cooler maybe out of the water, and he just went in face first in the water.
Officials say in almost every drowning or suspected drowning they work, the victims were not wearing a life jacket. An inmate that escaped in Prestonsburg is arrested in West Virginia. Police say Thomas Price escaped from custody while receiving treatment at Highlands Regional ARH. They say he was arrested following the arrest of his accomplice. He is expected to be extradited back to Kentucky in the coming days. A Corbin man is facing charges after a woman told police a verbal argument became physical. The incident happened during the weekend at a home about 10 miles from London. After police responded to the domestic complaint, police were told Ian Hitzman shoved a woman to the ground. Hitzman was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. A Knox County man is in jail after police say they found syringes and drugs in the driver's seat of a truck. Saturday night, sheriff's deputies went to a home on Kentucky 2418 in Barberville. When police arrived, they noticed a man standing next to a pickup truck with the doors open. In addition to finding syringes and drugs, police also found plastic bags containing suspected meth, totaling about 20 grams. James Merida was taken to the Knox County Detention Center. A Harlan County man is facing charges after police say they found drugs in his vehicle during a traffic stop. It happened on June 13th when police pulled Wilburn Madden over on Highway 72. Police later discovered that Madden had a bench warrant on him. During the search of his vehicle, police found baggies containing a substance believed to be heroin. A clear bag containing unknown pills and a gun was also found. Madden was taken to the Harlan County Detention Center. It's been 2 years since the Supreme Court Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. The anniversary came as the High Court considers another potentially monumental abortion case. It could rule any day now on whether a federal law mandating emergency care can override a state ban on the procedure. Now, the Kentucky Reproductive Freedom Fund is launching a statewide campaign to shine a light on the state's lack of abortion care. Kelsey Soto talked with those behind the message about their plea to lawmakers.
In the coming weeks, you might spot this mobile billboard or some other digital ads in the streets of Lexington, Frankfort, and Bowling Green.
I am deeply concerned that religion, the Bible, God, and even Jesus himself are being weaponized in a political battle.
On the second anniversary of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, advocates and medical professionals are urging lawmakers to end the state's restrictive abortion laws. Is there a concern that since this is passed, more restrictions could be coming down the pipe?
Oh, yes, they're trying right. They're trying today.
Some medical students worry the lack of abortion care will put them at a disadvantage when it comes to their education.
I will always advocate for coming home to Kentucky. There's a reason I did it. But I just hope that things can change in the future so that we can continue to stay here, practice here, and serve the communities that have raised us.
Other doctors fear it will further hinder healthcare access across the Commonwealth, widening the gap between the urban and rural areas.
Patients are being forced to leave their homes and their loved ones to travel across the country, navigating logistics such as travel costs, lodging, and childcare to receive access to care. This crisis is exhausting and heartbreaking.
In Lexington, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
Studies show more than half of Kentucky's 120 counties did not have a dedicated OBGYN in 2021 and 2022. Kentucky ranks 36th in the nation for infant mortality. The Commonwealth also has the 6th highest rate of maternal deaths and 4th highest teen pregnancy rate in the U.S. The CEO of Planned Parenthood of Kentucky says in the last 2 years, abortion opponents have attacked sexual and reproductive health care on all fronts. Access to abortion has been banned or severely restricted in 21 states. She says Kentucky's strict abortion ban, with exceptions only when the pregnant person's life is in danger, is hurting health care in the Commonwealth overall.
Yet, when pregnancy-related emergencies present, providers are being forced to ask the most inhumane questions. Is this patient close enough to dying? Are they near enough death for me to provide care to them? Will I be prosecuted? How is this the new benchmark for care?
In the Commonwealth, Kentucky banned abortion with a trigger law that went into effect 2 years ago yesterday. The only exception is when the mother's life is in danger. Last year, Hadley's Law was introduced in the legislature. It would have added exceptions for victims of rape and incest and when pregnancies are no longer viable. It never got a vote. Yesterday, Senate President Robert Stivers talked about what the Dobbs decision means to him.
What the Dobbs decision, in my opinion, said was it is each state that should be the entity that determines what should take place or not take place.
A ruling from the Supreme Court earlier this month protects what might be the most common kind of abortion in the U.S. It lets the FDA continue its approach to regulating the drug mifepristone. That includes letting the pills be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. Access to affordable housing continues to be a problem here in the Commonwealth. Yesterday, some state lawmakers were back at work in Frankfort to learn more about Kentucky's current housing availability and needs. That meeting went beyond housing specifically designed for low-income Kentuckians. It was not intended to come to a policy decision about housing in Kentucky, but rather presenters and lawmakers say they are just happy that this dialogue is taking place.
I really appreciate some of the terminology and some of the thoughts that you have given us to consider as we go through this.
No one thing can solve this problem. It's going to take a lot of different folks, like I said, a lot of partnerships, and the private sector really has to step up and start working on this.
A key point of the meeting was a lack of housing for all income levels, causing a cascade effect for what housing is left for those struggling to make ends meet.
A good Tuesday morning to you. A quick weather update to get you out the door. We can see on the web cameras a little fog and haze off in the distance, but at least it's not as widespread of a problem regarding the thickness of the fog as we've seen in recent mornings, especially back toward the Cumberland Valley right now. It's a very pleasant 57 degrees outside our door here at WYMT. And yes, indeed, there's a scattering of some clouds across eastern and southern Kentucky. That's not going to dim the sunshine by any means as we check out the travel weather forecast for today. Any fog burns off by 8 a.m. everywhere. Lots of sunshine. Enjoy. We lose that great feel to the air because one will be back near 90 for an afternoon high, and the humidity slowly on the rise as we head from the morning into the afternoon. We're also tracking a complex of shower and thunderstorm action that is way to our north. It's hauling our way. What does that mean? Details with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Olivia?
Thanks, Tim, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:41. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Floodwaters spill over in the Midwest with major concerns for a dam that was partially breached.